Hey everybody, this is Mark. Mark's Home Hobbies. How you guys doing today? Yeah, I just figured I'd show you a little bit about the type of stuff I find on the Heybike Mars 20-inch folding fat tire e-bike. Uh, this is just a portion of some of the stuff that I found the last couple of days. It's all sorted out into categories here, and I have some other stuff over here too that I found, and some other stuff here. And this stuff over in here is all from the last batch. Never even taken to the scrapyard yet. That's all aluminum right there. That's all in that tote down in there. That's all number 2. Which is, of course, I'm going to explain to you what the different grades of wire are. And yeah, this big bundle here is all extension cords and stuff. Yeah, so I'll tell you how I do it. I go out on this bike right here, and I go about maybe 25, 30 miles, 40 miles sometimes. I drain the battery out usually. I start out fully charged, and I end up at about 2 bars. And when it's 2 bars, I go home. So that's enough riding. You're very sore after you get off. So enough about that. Let's just talk about this scrap. All right, I'm going to explain to you the different grades of scrap, and you can maximize your profits by sorting your materials out this way when you take them to the scrapyard. Now, obviously, I'm focusing on copper wire right here, and I'm also focusing on copper pipe, but the same goes true for aluminum wire and aluminum, any type of aluminum metal that you may have. You can see I got a piece over there, and I've got some in that container over there, and I've got a few pieces other places too, but right now I'm not focusing on aluminum. I'm focusing on the copper wire because I want to make a scrap run. So here's how we do it to maximize our profit, and so that the scrapyard doesn't ding us in any way, and we get absolutely the best amount of money that we can for stuff. So what we're going to do is start out with a box of stuff here that is kind of all mixture of stuff. Now you can see, I'm going to pull this box right out. I haven't even messed with it. Put it over here in the light. This box contains this, which is considered number 1 copper. This is the stuff they pay you the most for. It has no plastic on it. It's all solid piece, okay? Even though it's a stranded piece, this is all solid copper wire with no insulation. This is right now is paying about $4.25 a pound. So, as you can see, I've got some other stuff like that too. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, so that's all number 1 copper right there. Sometimes known in the industry as Bear Bright. Okay? Now, anything that has any paint on it, or solder, or insulation, is not considered Bear Bright. It would be considered number 2 copper. If it was pipes like this that have a soldered joint on there, that would be, if I turned that in like that, it would be considered number 2 copper. So it would not pay me $4 plus per pound like this would. But if I was to take those pipes and I was to cut that solder joint off of there with a pair of bolt cutters, I could then get number 1 copper price because there's no other paint or anything else on the pipe. Okay, so it goes from about a $3 a pound thing, maybe $2.75 a pound for number 1, or for number 2 copper, to number 1 copper. So there's quite a big difference. So if you just do that little step, it's an extra $1 for your pound. Okay? Same with the wire. If I was to strip all this wire down and take the coatings off of it, I could get the same price. I could get $4 plus per pound. But in the state that it's in now, I might get $2 a pound for the number 1 wire, which has just got the thin insulation on it, but is solid wire. Like this is number 1 wire right here. You can see it's not stranded. It's a solid core. This, although it's thick, is stranded. That's number 2. Sometimes they call that panel wire. Sometimes they call number 1 wire machine wire. So, and then you got to watch out for stuff like this, because even though it's red and black, if you look at the end of it, it's aluminum wire inside of there. It's silver. So you don't want to have any of that mixed in with your copper, because then they're going to ding you down and give you probably the aluminum price, which is maybe 60 or 80 cents a pound for everything. So you're going to want to make sure you sort out all the aluminum. You don't want them finding any silver in your gold pile. Okay? Those are extension cords, same as this. They might have a separate price for those because it's mostly insulation. Although there's a lot of copper wire in some of them. You can see I've got some thicker ones over there. But it's mostly thinner wire, so it might be $1 or $1.25 a pound for that stuff. I don't know what the current rate is, but it's around that. Now another thing too, I'm going to give you another tip here. You're going to find a lot of wire out there. If you're scrapping and you're driving around neighborhoods like I do and you're cutting cords and you're looking for stuff, electric motors and small radiators, pieces of metal, anything that you can find that weighs a lot that's made out of solid metal, you can pick it up and take it to the scrapyard, okay? So don't limit yourself to just wire or things like that. If you can take and crush it and fold it and put it back in here, or sometimes you might find some video cameras, or you might find some collectibles or glassware, like antique crystal and stuff like that. So be prepared with some bungee cords and some packing to pack that material up so it doesn't get broken on the way home. Now you can see I've still got some other copper over here too. Got some 3/4 inch copper pipe right there, nice chunk of that. And some little guy stuff here, some smaller copper there. Oh, I was going to tell you though, one other thing to watch out for is coax cable. You see that little gold piece on the end there? That's coax from the TV. Most scrap places really don't want to touch that, okay? It's mostly insulation. A little bit of maybe silver wire or maybe a copper center. Most places don't want to take it though, and if they do, they're not going to give you that much for it. So you're going to want to make sure you sort out all the television coax cable from your stash. Also, this type of household wiring, like this is called Romex. Okay, this right here is probably about $2 a pound or so. I got a pretty good grip of that going right there too, and that's going to go into that blue bucket with the rest of it. So that's called Romex, and they give you a different price for that, but it's basically number one wire. But if you strip that out, there's a center copper ground wire in there, and that's what most of those are over there, is that ground wire that's been stripped out or pulled out of the sheathing and just coiled up. So that's Romex right there. Now, if you were to strip that down, you're going to find that the insulation weighs almost as much as the copper that you've got in there. So you may want to consider turning it in just as whole Romex and take the price that you get. Even though you have a stripping machine and you could strip it like I do, right now they're paying a pretty good price for Romex, so they're buying the insulation too, basically. So I would consider that. You're going to get a lot more. You're going to get at least $1 more a pound for the strip bare copper, but you're going to lose a lot in insulation too. So it's a trade-off. Yeah, with any of the wires, if you find big wire that has a lot of huge chunk of copper or something inside of it, just bear in mind that any insulation that you pull off of it is going to affect your outcome. So anyhow, yeah, I just thought I'd make this quick video. I'm going to go to the scrapyard and turn all this stuff in and see what kind of cash I get. What did it weigh? What did it pay? A couple weeks worth of scrapping on the old Heybike Mars there. Just got done cutting the grass, and there's a couple little squirrels out there waiting for some peanuts. So let's get to them. Have a nice day. This is Mark with Mark's Home Hobbies. Talk to you later.